All right, Coach, we'll open with a brief statement and then we'll open it for questions.
Yeah, gonna be a big week. A lot of games in a very, very short period of time. So today we're gonna be pretty much just fine tuning some things, getting some kids some live at bats that didn't see a lot of action this past weekend and getting some of our other pitchers some live opportunities. And then hitting the road, headed to Illinois, doubleheader obviously tomorrow. Illinois is a young team, but very competitive. They've been competitive in every single game. And then head back, go to class, and then head on a plane and head down to Knoxville. It's going to be a tough weekend series down at Tennessee, but obviously just looking at Illinois right now and looking to take two there.
Coach, looking back at kind of the weekend and you had a chance to look at film, kind of stats, what were kind of your main takeaways against Auburn?
And you're really focusing on Friday and Saturday and what our pitchers did to be successful. That's huge because that's going to keep us in every single ball game, and really good outings with Krings and Harrison. I thought they kept them off balance, being able to make adjustments because Auburn was making adjustments in the batter's box, and we countered beautifully. Sunday left the ball over the heart of the plate a little bit too much. So looking at Krings in particular on what she did on her off day, and I don't feel like she was as fresh as she should have been after an off day. So working with our strength coach, athletic training, on getting her a little bit more active on that off day, maybe throwing a little bit more. Again, it's a different routine because we're not playing 5 games in 3 days. And when we're playing in those preseason tournaments, Krings was throwing back-to-back days. So trying to simulate that a little bit more on how our body's responding. You know, it started Sunday after the game. There's a phrase that I use all the time is clear the clutter, and getting yourself organized and planning ahead. So then you don't feel overwhelmed with the quick turnaround. So doing that Sunday evening, packing up, making sure that their uniforms are ready to go and that they're packed up so they're not having to spend a lot of time doing it today and tomorrow. And then in terms of just with our strength coach, making sure that we're doing a lot of stretching, a lot of mobility movements. You know, sleep is a huge thing, part of recovery. So making sure that we get to bed at a good time. And the good thing is that tomorrow's game isn't too early. So we have some time to be able to recover and do some things and then get them back Wednesday night and then just a quick turnaround. But being able to charter is a huge bonus, obviously. So it's a quick flight down to Knoxville. But as soon as we get there, taking care of their bodies right away and doing a lot of those mobility movements and making sure that they're hydrated.
You talk a lot about getting some live at bats for people who haven't seen the field as much as past weekend. With so many games, are you going to rotate some more batters, or are you just going to try to stay the same 9 or 10?
You know, I'll be sticking with the same 9 or 10 until I have to make changes. Like not intentionally moving people around to get them more at bats, but being more intentional during the week in practice to get them the live at bats. So then when they are called upon, they're ready. And it hasn't been weeks since they've seen a live pitcher. And it's the same thing with our pitching staff. Like we have some young pitchers in there with, you know, McCann didn't throw a lot of innings and Lily Witten didn't throw any at all, and Natalie Touche. So having them get some live at bats. So that way when they are called upon, because they will, that they're ready. The thing that I've been explaining to the team is it's great that our starters are going the distance. Like that's a really, really good problem to have. You know, we haven't been in a situation, I think in quite a while, probably since postseason last year, that our starters have been able to go as far as they are at this point in the season. So it's a good thing that they are competitive, that they're able to close out their own games. The bad thing is our bullpen isn't getting enough work. So getting that work during the week to be able to prepare them so it doesn't feel like it's the first time out in a month.
Coach, on Sunday talked a little bit about kind of the impact the freshmen have had on this team, just bringing that energy and that enthusiasm. Can you just speak a little bit kind of what you've seen from that freshman class? We obviously got to see it for the first time this weekend in person, but kind of what have they brought? How have they kind of embraced that attitude of, I guess, that dugout attitude of just happiness, success, things like that?
You know, and you hit the nail on the head. The culture is really amazing. And this is the first recruiting class that has gone through the process with us as coaches from day one. I've recruited every single player within our program, but this freshman class started when they were in 8th and 9th grade coming to camp. So they've been invested in the culture for a longer period of time and knowing what they're coming into and why they're coming here. So that I think really laid the foundation to who they are and what they're trying to do when they're here. they have such unbelievable personalities with so much energy, excitement. They're invested in each other that it becomes really contagious. And then when throughout the course of the game, their attention to detail and their investment to see their teammates succeed carries over to every aspect of the game. You don't get that on a lot of teams. And I think that's why our team is so successful right now. And our culture is so unbelievable because they truly care about one another. And those freshmen, even if they're not getting playing time, they want to see the team win. They're not selfish. They're not thinking about just themselves. It's them coming into the office and saying, Coach, how can I help this team better? I'll tell you this past weekend, and I'm going to give a shout out to Natalie Touche, and a pitcher that has not had a lot of playing time. She came in to watch film, in particular to pick Penta's changeup. And you don't get that from a lot of players. Like, she knows what her role is going to be. The pitchers that are in the bullpen, they're trying to pick pitches throughout the entire game. And here she's breaking down film prior to the game to be able to pick those things to help her team. And it's those little things that when players do that and then the team is successful because of those things, then that carries over to that ownership.
How has that kind of made the veterans, the returners system kind of better? So how have you kind of seen that kind of reflect onto them? Because now they have this freshman class that's here picking them up anytime that they may fall down.
It's like a true family. Like, and I know teams and coaches use that cliche all the time, like we're a family, but there's a lot of dysfunctional families out there. And, so we use the word tribe, and we have a lot of practice shirts that say tribe on the back. And what a tribe is everyone's trying to carry out the same mission and trying to accomplish the same mission. And that's what the freshmen help us do. And to have freshmen that are empowering our upperclassmen and supporting our upperclassmen, it allows the upperclassmen to not feel threatened, but also pushed and encouraged.
Coach, how important is that lively energy, especially now that you're competing in some of these true road environments? You're not going to have a lot of your fans hanging around.
Yeah, and every team is going to have their own culture and their own level of intensity. I've been a part of teams that they don't thrive in the rah-rah. And I've others that need the rah-rah. And so each team has to figure out what is their identity. And it starts in the locker room. And I want that locker room to carry over into the dugout and carry over to the field and just have a focus on us and not really focus on the other team. But they recognize the intensity that they have to have in order to be successful. And that's the type of players they are. Like when we have conditioning or weight training, it has to be consistent. And it has to be that same energy to be able to get the best out of each other. Going into Illinois or Tennessee's atmosphere, we know it's going to be intense. But at the same time, we have to focus on ourselves and try to tune that out, but also appreciate the opportunity that if you're going into another venue and you're hated, that means you're really good. So it's using that and saying, you know what, isn't it great that they're booing us right now because that means we're getting to them.
Did play on Sunday, they get it. What would you like to see?
And she's in a situation where almost she has to wait her turn a little bit because Shantice Phillips and Kaylee Lenger are playing so exceptionally well right now. And that happens. And we're going to continue to ride that train until the train stops. So great for Shantice, great for Kaylee. And Maya's waiting her turn the same way Shantice was waiting her turn when Maya was playing. Maya's going to have her opportunities. And it's great that no one's winning position by default. And it's just going to continue to get Maya better. What I'd like to see from Maya is being a little bit more, have a better approach and plan on what pitches she can hit and what she can't hit. And when hitters are trying to get themselves into the lineup, sometimes they feel like they have to hit their way into the lineup rather than just having quality at bats. And that's what we need to see out of Maya.
Looking ahead to this 5-game slate, what are you hoping to see out of the team as a whole? And just kind of what are your goals kind of going into this week?
The biggest thing is just to be competitive. Every at bat, let's just be loud, competitive outs, put the fear into the pitcher's eyes, not have any easy outs. I felt Sunday that we had a lot of easy outs. We got a little defensive as soon as we got down 2 runs, and we were just trying to put the ball in play, and we're not successful doing that. We have to be fierce. And if we're going to go down swinging and being aggressive with that and just having that aggressive mentality all the way through. Cool. Thanks.
Anybody on Zoom, sorry? Natalie, you have anything?
Yeah, real quick, how have you seen, you talk about going over with Lauren, maybe her off days, how have you kind of seen her tackle that and make those changes? I know it's only been a couple days here, but have you seen her tackle that?
The first thing is when she was pulled on Sunday, immediately going to our strength coach and communicating to him on what I'm seeing. And I just felt like she just wasn't, her nervous system wasn't activated enough. And he took her back to the bullpen. He did some explosive movements with her, some dynamic stuff, which is why I was able to put her back in because she wasn't fatigued. She just wasn't, her body wasn't awake. And she did the same pregame routine. So to me, it's just, okay, what she did on Saturday wasn't enough to keep her activated. And also standing in the dugout for 3 or 4 hours is extremely taxing on the body. So then yesterday, having some conversations with our strength coach on, let's do a little bit more in the mornings before she throws. I'm going to throw her on that off day if I'm not anticipating to use her in the game, just so she can continue to spin and use her body. And it would be very, very low pitch count, maybe 30, 35 pitches. But just keep her in that routine. She does a tremendous amount of job in the training room after games. So it's just making sure that we keep her body loose and fluid so that she can stay fiery, because I mean, that's the type of pitcher she is. She needs to be explosive.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So, what is the plan for pitching for the doubleheader?
Oh, good question. I'd like to go Krings and Harrison. And, I always anticipate, and when I say it out loud, that I want to score a lot of runs and get a lot of pitchers into the rotation, we don't end up scoring a lot of runs. So we're just going to ride it and see what goes. But I would love to be able to get almost everybody on our pitching staff into the game. I want to get them that experience, but I want them to be in a situation that they're going to be successful. Like that's the biggest thing. Like the ultimate thing is we got to win. We got to win every ball game that we possibly can. I'm never going to say, this is a throwaway game, because it's not. Like we have to continue to win. So it's putting our players in a situation that they're going to be successful and giving them a little bit more run support for those young players, so then they don't feel that the game's on the line with them in the circle.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool, awesome, thanks.
Thank you.